Alright guys, today we have a very exciting topic to go over and talk about. We are going over a new report that has come from VGC where they are citing multiple sources that they have been in contact with that have relayed some pretty significant information about the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn to them, and it will be a PS5 game that will feature co-op and a gigantic world. So obviously that sounds very exciting, and I want to take some time in this video to go over all of this information and give my thoughts on it as well. Horizon Zero Dawn is a game that I know many of you really love, and many of you had suggested to me back in 2019 that I play it, and I did, and it really blew me away. I loved the world. I thought the setting was so unique and so interesting. I thought the combat was very unique as well. I really enjoyed the characters. They were interesting, and the story itself was kind of, it just had this, you know, this aspect to it that you just want to know more about this world, and you want to uncover its secrets. And I really enjoyed pretty much everything about Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm really glad I played it. But yeah, you guys, I know you are so excited for a sequel to this game, and so that's why I am just so excited to take some time here and talk about this info. So before we go any further, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button to help the video out or to express your excitement for a Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, and hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future content. But let's go over this report and everything it has to say. Multiple sources have told VGC that Sony Interactive Entertainment has greenlit ambitious plans for the post-apocalyptic open-world franchise, which debuted in 2017 and sold 10 million copies. Amsterdam-based Guerrilla had always desired to deliver a series of Horizon games, and a multi-part script was written, but the plan was only officially agreed after the original game's strong debut on PlayStation 4. So what this first part is basically saying, Guerilla Games had always intended Horizon to be a multi-part series, but Sony was only comfortable in greenlighting that after they saw how well the first game sold and how well it did critically. I think it probably surprised Sony how well the game ended up doing. So it goes on to say here that the title was both a commercial and critical success, and the team even went on to win the 2018 BAFTA Games Award for original property. The next installment, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, started development soon after the first game's successful release. This is what sources are telling VGC. Initially, the game was planned for PlayStation 4. However, it's thought that development has now entirely shifted focus to Sony's next generation console. Now, to me, this is extremely interesting because what this tells me is that this will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive game, and I do not think it will be cross-generational with the PS4 because they do put emphasis that development has shifted entirely. Now, I don't know if they worded that way specifically to kind of let us know it will be a PS5 only game, but this is kind of what I've always expected. I do think that there will be very few cross-gen games, if any at all, when it comes to Sony exclusives. I say this because even the game Godfall, which is a third-party exclusive, is not even releasing on PS4. So I highly doubt that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 will. And then the next question is, well, what about PC? We know that Horizon Zero Dawn 1 was just announced for PC. Is it likely that the sequel will be as well? I want to say no. I don't want to say anything definitively because I don't know, but I think it's very unlikely, and the reason for this is pretty simple. We know that the PlayStation 5 is a highly customized console, and you look at that SSD, there's no way that Sony's first-party teams would be able to take full advantage of that SSD in particular, but also many of the other highly customized specs of the PS5 to do everything they possibly could do with a game like Horizon Zero Dawn 2 if they were also developing it for PC. The PC would hold it back, and it would essentially negate what you could say is the PlayStation 5's greatest strength, and to me, that just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say definitively that it won't release on PC, but I just think it's extremely unlikely, and I wouldn't bank on it. It makes just so much more sense that these development teams are going to make these games just for the PS5 so that way they can take full advantage of the PS5 hardware. It would make no sense for them to develop for the lowest common denominator. I also do want to back this up by highlighting that one of Sony's first-party developers from Naughty Dog, when the PS5 specs were first released, they expressed excitement at the fact that they will no longer have to develop with bottlenecks and accommodate for the lowest common denominator. So in my opinion, that was a very clear indication that games being developed for the PlayStation 5 from first-party studios will be exclusive to the PS5. I do not anticipate that they will release on PC. That could change, though. I just had to highlight that because I know that's a big question that a lot of people have. But what is exciting, in my opinion, and possibly the most exciting thing out of everything we're talking about here, is the fact that it will be a PS5 game. And development has shifted to the PS5, and yeah, that's exciting because it's kind of always what I anticipated, but just knowing what the PS5 is capable of, knowing how talented Guerilla Games is, that is an exciting combination. But moving on here, it says Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is said to be, quote, gigantic in scope with a larger game world and more freedom to explore than its predecessor. People with knowledge of the game also indicated the inclusion of a co-op feature, although it's not clear if this is delivered via the main story or a separate mode. So another thing I want to highlight here is not only how exciting it is to hear that this game is apparently going to be gigantic, that's the word they're using to describe it, in scope, but it's going to be just a significantly larger game world with much more freedom to explore than the first game. Again, to me, this is another indicator that this is a game that's being built specifically for the PS5 and taking advantage of that SSD, because if you recall what many developers are saying about the SSD inside the PS5 specifically, the most exciting thing about it is what they're going to be able to do when it comes to game worlds and developing these open worlds and making them just vastly bigger in ways that just wouldn't be possible on other hardware, such as the PS4, or even PC. That are still utilizing mechanical drives. So to me, this is another clear indicator this is in fact a PS5 only game. And they're talking about co-op. So yeah, let's continue to read here because there's still more information. It says, at one point, Guerrilla was planning to release a standalone co-op game preview with progress carrying over to the later full version of Horizon Zero Dawn 2. And this is what one person involved told VGC. However, it's not clear if these plans are still in place. Co-op is a feature Guerrilla has long intended to introduce to the series, and it's understood PlayStation was equally keen to see online functionality implemented in the sequel. I'm assuming this is because, as it goes on to say here, the first game was apparently intended to have co-op of some sort, but they couldn't make it happen. It says a co-op feature was initially planned for the first game, but was ultimately scrapped so the development team could focus on other areas of the title. Zero Dawn concept art that leaked online in 2014, verified by VGC, even shows initial plans to have multiple players battle the game's huge mechanical beasts. Guerrilla's work on a sequel has recently been suggested by a series of job advertisements which mention an open-world game featuring quests and creatures. PlayStation has even made a possible reference to how the PS5's innovative controller could impact gameplay in Horizon. System architect Mark Cerny and CEO Jim Ryan have said the DualSense's adaptive triggers will help players feel the tension of their actions, quote, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow, unquote. A PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn and a Horizon Zero Dawn comic book series set after the events of the first game will be released this summer, possibly linking into the sequel. And to me, that's another clear indication that Sony is going to be showing this game off soon or announcing it soon. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Goes on to say here, just to finish off this report, in 2017, PlayStation America's then president, Sean Layden, confirmed Horizon Zero Dawn was a franchise the platform holder intended to leverage in the future. Guerrilla co-founder Herman Holst has got a very keen mind on where he wants to take Horizon and what the roadmap is, and that roadmap is expressed in multiple years, he told The Telegraph. I think we'll be in the Horizon business for a long time. According to Holst, who was recently promoted to head of PlayStation's worldwide studios, Sony remains highly committed to the creation of story and character-based games. It's also worth noting that in that same blog post, he did reaffirm Sony's commitment to high-quality exclusive games supporting their consoles, and that they have no plans for day-and-date releases on PC. I know that some people think that, well, that doesn't necessarily mean they're not developing these games for PC, but again, I just don't think it's likely. It really doesn't make much sense in my opinion, because if that was the case, they would not be able to leverage the full power and advantages that the PS5 is going to offer. And if there's any games you want to do that for, it's a game like Horizon Zero Dawn 2. And finally here it says, internally it's felt that these types of experiences ideally complement the blockbuster multiplayer titles that are favored by third-party publishers. So yeah, a lot of info here, a lot of it very interesting and very, very exciting as well, because I gotta tell you guys, like, this is exactly how I envisioned it, right? Like, I imagine that when we finally get the PS5 reveal, we're gonna see this game revealed. That is the big question that I think people have. Like, are we going to see this game revealed alongside the PS5, and can we expect it to be a launch title? I will let you know that while I am expecting it to be revealed alongside the PS5, I am not anticipating it to be a launch title, because in my opinion, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a game that Sony is going to want to leverage a little bit further down the line, maybe after 1 year of the console being on the market, so that way they have a bigger install base. But after that first year, all of the early adopters will have gotten their PS5s, and all the people who haven't will be looking for further incentive to do so. And what better incentive than, hey, here's a sequel to one of our biggest and best games launching 1 year, probably in 2021, maybe February 2021, alongside other games that will be coming out that year. But I think that that would do a good job in kind of selling the PS5. Also, knowing that there may be some shortages at launch, they're probably going to want to save a game like Horizon Zero Dawn for when people can easily go out there and buy consoles without having to worry about not being able to get their hands on one. That's just my assumption. But talking about the co-op feature, I have to say that is also extremely exciting, because, I mean, I like single-player games, but you guys know I also like multiplayer games. But co-op, in my opinion, is something that is just a perfect blend, depending on how it's handled, of you can have a great single-player narrative, a great single-player story, and then you can properly, if you do it properly, that is, you can implement co-op to just really kind of complement it, right? Without it feeling like a multiplayer-only game or a multiplayer-driven game. I'm sure if this is the case, you will be able to play the game by yourself without co-op, right? Like, you could probably just turn that off if you want. But what's also interesting is that apparently Guerilla Games was trying to do a separate standalone co-op game, but I guess they probably scrapped that and they're going to roll it into Horizon Zero Dawn 2. It's also very interesting that they were apparently starting work on this game as a PS4 game, and they shifted to the PS5, and so again, like, to me, it just, that indicates to me that they wanted to really kind of expand this game world, the world of Horizon, just greatly. And the only way they could really do that effectively, to have like really impactful, I guess you could say, improvements to the world that really blow people away, it has to be done on the PS5. And so, some extremely exciting news here, guys. I am very excited for the PS5 reveal, and at this point, I think it's safe to say that we're going to get a reveal of some sort for a Horizon sequel when we finally get that big PS5 event that we've been patiently waiting for. Whether or not it will be a teaser or a full-blown gameplay trailer, I don't know. What I do know is that this game has certainly been in development for quite some time, and it's, in my opinion, one of the games that Sony is going to want to leverage. And because of that, I think it's very likely we will see a lot about the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel when we get the reveal of the PS5. I could be wrong about that, but either way, this report is very exciting. And I know I should have said this in the beginning, and I apologize that I'm mentioning it now. We do have to understand that this is a report coming from VGC. This is not officially coming from Sony. However, it seems like VGC has some very good sources, and I think that pretty much everything we're reading here is pretty accurate. That's why I'm reporting on it in such a way. So I'm going to end the video here, guys. At this point, I want you to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How excited are you to hear this? What did we go over here that excites you the most? Are you just excited at the fact that we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Are you excited at the fact that it's clearly going to be a PS5 exclusive? What about the co-op? Let me know down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.